Partnered by Times Influence.
Respected Chief Guest of the event, Honorable Finance Minister Shri Arun Jaitley ji, other dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen, it gives us immense pleasure to invite all of you here today to the launch of Access Dil Se, an initiative to enable the development of schools in remote communities. And in order to set the context for today's event, I'd like to invite on stage Mr. Suresh Warrior, Head Corporate Affairs and CSR, Axis Bank.
Once again, thank you all for taking time out to join us for the launch of Access Dil Se. Axis Bank has over the years grown to become an institution of banking excellence, thanks to the unwavering commitment of its customers, its employees, and its many partners, all of whom who have played an active role in its journey of progress. As we continue this journey, we also firmly realize our responsibility as an agent of social change to help communities around us carve out a sustainable future for themselves. The Axis Bank Foundation was created over a decade ago as a public trust institution to singularly focus on creating sustainable livelihoods in underserved communities. Today, the foundation reaches out to more than 221 districts in the country through 21 programs, and as on date, has created 1 million sustainable livelihoods, a proud achievement for all of us. But we still know we have a long way to go and more to do in this sphere. Last year, a group of our employees, as a part of the bank's leadership program, reached out to some of the inaccessible locations of Leh and Kargil. As a small beginning, our employees raised 1 million rupees to create basic infrastructure for 4 schools and engage with children and villagers, for many of whom it was their first encounter with people from regions other than their surrounding villages. This led to the genesis of Access Dil Se, a program to connect remote communities through focused initiatives on education, as we believe that holistic education, including sport, is a key enabler for development of future generations. The scale of this program therefore needed committed on-ground partners working in these locations who understood the difficulties of the terrain. We accordingly tied up with our partner, 17,000 Feet Foundation, to embark on a 3-year journey to transform more than 100 schools in some of the border villages of Leh and Kargil districts. I thank you all for joining us today to mark the launch of this initiative. We are happy to share some of the moments that we had with these children in these remote locations through a small AV.
Tamporang song paralelete abali amal school alam just my galaxy sole
갑자기 너무 나는 그ला 비온단지면 나타나 땅가랑 말레 바로 말래 사지스기 답사 나야 쪽신 오빠다 사타 실마시 바사 캄펠라 식준 두고 살래 됐나 저 답사 실마시 나랑 lep지 바로 말래
17,000 feet is just a catalyst. We are just providing the opportunity, and if that opportunity, that window is being provided, what's amazing is they take it and they run with it.
मुझे ये स्कूल बहुत अच्छा लगता है क्योंकि यहाँ पर सब कुछ फैसिलिटीज़ है। तो मैं 8th क्लास में पढ़ती हूँ, तब मुझे जाना पड़ेगा हायर सेकेंडरी। मुझे इससे ज़्यादा यहीं से बेटर नहीं लगेगा शायद।
What separates this project from anything else is the fact that Axis Bank has sent people here to do the job, and not just any people. There are currently 18 senior bankers and 30 new inductees who are here in Ladakh with us, traveling across the remotest villages of Ladakh. And what it does in terms of building the confidence of people is unparalleled. We are so excited because no one's ever done this.
हम सब चाहते हैं कि एजुकेशन को लेकर जो है आगे तक हम जाएं, हमारे बच्चों को भी सिखाएं भाई दुनिया के साथ हम मुकाबला कर सकते हैं एजुकेशन को लेकर।
have with us today, here, in person, some of these children who've joined along with their headmasters all the way from the schools of Ladakh to attend this function. Ladies and gentlemen, please let's welcome the children on stage. The children will now felicitate all the dignitaries on stage with Khataks, the traditional Ladakhi shawls. I'd like to now request Honorable Sir to please launch the event by ringing the symbolic school bell.
May we request the Honorable Finance Minister to present a milestone to the Axis Bank Foundation in recognition of their efforts in creating 1 million sustainable livelihoods.
And we request Honorable Finance Minister to please address the audience.
I'm extremely delighted to join you all at this symbolic but very important event. Important because the CSR initiative of the Axis Bank has reached the most beautiful and the most disadvantaged part of India. For those who've been to Leh, Ladakh and Kargil, always come back singing praises of the raw nature and the beauty that they saw. The connectivity, the distances, the geography in the midst of a conflict also makes it extremely disadvantageous. And obviously, it's also a reality that the state of Jammu and Kashmir, made up of 3 different regions, this became, in that sense, the 3rd sub-region of the state. And being a smaller one, its voice at times is less audible. And I think Axis Bank has done a commendable service by bringing this region into the forefront itself. To spend a large part of your CSR resource in upgrading the schools is an extremely important initiative. Education always is a great leveler. And the level playing field that Leh, Ladakh, Kargil and this region do require can really be provided either by state assistance or corporate assistance to CSR. I remember that elsewhere in developed economies, corporate charity was always a very important instrument of service. Conventionally, it didn't exist in India. Charity in India was identified with communities. It's only in the last 1 or 2 decades that this whole concept of service to society through corporate instrumentalities has begun. I think if you look at India's large corporates with a profitability of 500 crores and above, you have a potential of about 14,000 crores of CSR annually. And therefore, the choice of the destination where this money is to be spent, I think is also extremely important. And I think it's a great linkage which links children in these areas to the mainstream itself. I think one of the greatest assets in India is a rising aspiration. And therefore, in areas like Leh, Ladakh also, once given the advantage of education, becoming multilingual, broadening their own horizon, being able to view what rest of the world is doing, I think is going to throw up another bunch of very aspirational citizens out of these young children that we've seen today, I do commend once again and thank the Axis Bank for this great initiative. I think it's a path for many others itself to follow. Thank you very much for having invited me to associate.
I'd like to now invite Shikha ma'am to please say a few words.
It's indeed a really special day for us today. And I want to first start by thanking the children and the headmasters and headmistresses who have joined us all the way from Leh and Kargil to be with us here today. When our senior leadership team went on a training program to Ladakh last year, they came back filled with the same enthusiasm and joy that the FM referred to, because the country and the people of Ladakh, it's a remote region, but it's a really pretty part of the country. And they wanted to give to the children of Ladakh the same school experience that children anywhere in the country can have. So to your point of trying to level the playing field as far as the children are concerned. And we were happy that we had an opportunity to partner with 17,000 Feet Foundation, who works with the grassroots in Ladakh, to take this program to 104 schools over the next 3 years. And it's the happiness on the faces and the twinkle in the eyes of these children that gives this project its maqsad. When some of our senior leaders who went to many of the remote schools to see what's happening, they all came back with smiles on their faces, having seen the smiles on the faces of the children and the teachers there. So we really feel honored at this opportunity. Thank you very much. Axis Foundation over the last few years has aimed to reach the goal of catalyzing 1 million sustainable livelihoods across more than 10,000 villages. When we took on this goal, we thought it was audacious, but we're really delighted that we have managed to achieve the goal and on time. Third-party assessment of the programs that have been done under the Livelihoods program, done by eminent institutions like DISS, have indicated that income for the principal households impacted by the initiative has gone up threefold. So the unique thing again about the Axis Foundation initiative is that we measured baseline incomes and we measured incomes post-impact, and we're delighted to see that it's had a sustainable impact. In closing, sir, I want to specially thank you for granting us the opportunity of being here today. Your kind, encouraging words will motivate us to go on, and as you mentioned, try the things which haven't been tried before, because if you succeed in them, there is no greater happiness you can find. So thank you, sir, for making this a really special day for us. Thank you.
As soon as possible, young children start understanding the value for money and start to learn how to create more value from money, I think their education is on the right path.
General Sharma, I'd like to start with you because you have spent a considerable amount of time in these regions where we're talking specifically about Leh, Ladakh, Kargil. The winter temperature there easily falls below freezing. -25 is just easily done. How does this impact life there?
We must start with Om Mane Padme Om. That's the important part of it. We have to go back into thing. And Jule to all friends who've come from Ladakh. Anybody who's not visited Ladakh has missed something in life and must go there. The issue before the weather is the remoteness of the area. It's cut off for 6-7 months a year. So the working season for people like you and me who actually go and work there for some time is only about 4-5 months a year. So I want to make a school. I require building material. The building material has to be dumped this year and has to be constructed next year. Oh. The effort involved is tremendous. You have to acclimatize, you have to say that the area is inhospitable. You can't be a Gama in the land of Lama, as they keep saying there. Right. So you have to adjust yourself, and I think it's not difficult in case you make your mind.
Mr. Dahiya, I want to come to you. Now, looking at this, why did Axis Bank decide, besides doing education under the CSR vertical, besides doing education, why Leh, Ladakh, Kargil?
So for us, it was an idea. It was an idea to open up our mind. and as Shikha mentioned and FM hinted, is our CSR approach more equal, more inclusive? That was the question in front of us. And then we had this beautiful opportunity which came through our own employees who had gone there, and then the inspiration that we got from, I think, your excitement about the whole thing, the way you described everything, made us just decide that we'll do it. So while there is a romanticized version of being in Ladakh and all that, but in reality, if you ask me one question, it is to have an equal opportunity for everything that we do in CSR area.
Okay. I believe people have a good nature. They want to do good. But sometimes in the everyday life and all, we just like, okay, I want to do it, but I'm too busy. I can't do it. I don't prioritize. What gave you that spark that you said that, okay, I've worked for so many years, but let me step out. I want to do this. And you set up 17,000 Wheat Foundation.
For me, it was a question of why can't these children, why can't these communities have access to the same opportunities that we do? The break came for me when I took a very solo trek into Ladakh and I fell ill, and the realities, the harshness of the region, just the way the people live. It's a happy place. It's a beautiful place, it's a happy place, and how people live there just made me realize that things can be done. You know, Axis Bank has reiterated that, validated that. When you sent people there, I think it's the most exciting times for us.
This next question actually is to you, Mr. Chadha, and also to you, Ms. Marwa. You know, you're also dealing with education in rural areas. So, but what are the biggest challenges that you find when you're bringing about education in the remote rural areas?
So the advantages are, one, I mean, you're working in a cleaner environment. You're dealing with people who are far simpler, right? There are issues that you got to overcome, but there are constraints in terms of infrastructure. That's one. That's the biggest one. I mean, when we started building our schools, we couldn't get electricity into the schools because there were no lines available. So we had to invest in that. There are huge issues around getting teachers and the right kind of teachers. I mean, we have to invest a lot in training them. Then coming down to communities, I mean, you got to work with them because, I mean, there are large social and cultural issues with the communities. There are issues around, providing the midday meals because, schools are in remote areas. Children have to be provided the midday meal. So where do we find vendors? How do we ensure hygiene and sanitation? So the way we overcame that was by, making sure that the parents of children become the midday meal vendors. Okay. So there is an insurance. You're feeding your own child.
I'd just like to get Ms. Marwa in on this. In your experience with in dealing with education in rural areas specific, how has it been?
To me, actually, this whole thing of the question you asked, which was, what is remote? I mean, remote is clearly it's in two areas. It is people are underserved, children are underserved, not just because they are geographically remote. Mm-hmm. That they are in Leh, Ladakh adds, I think, the kind of barriers. But they're also underserved because they are in, they could be in parts where there is violence. So they could be the Red Belt in Chhattisgarh. We find actually huge challenges. Our people are not able to go in for months on end in Chhattisgarh. The work that Axis Bank Foundation talks about, which is actually to restore livelihoods in the spaces where people need it the most. People do not need to migrate to cities and live like, animals. They need to get dignity restored in where they live. The challenges go way beyond being able to restore a school. So our learning is that when you work in remote communities, I would just say one thing, it is listen. Listen to what their problems are. Listen to what they're telling you. Very often they know for themselves. And we will all truly be able to make the changes we want to make if we are able to transfer power to communities themselves.
I completely agree with you. It will be foolish to take away the small infrastructure that these people have in their communities. I think idea is to enhance what they have, not simply uproot them and bring them to somewhere where again your efforts will be too meager to recreate the emotional, physical, psychological connect that they have with the space they work in. We also realize that one day we will have to move out of these initiatives. So what is going to be the self-sustaining part of these initiatives is very, very important. So unless these things are decided in advance, are integral part of the program, and the program is run the way we are running a company or a bank.
Right.
So there is no compromise in terms of quality of inputs that will go into that. Then these initiatives will succeed.
What is the role now of technology? Are you already seeing, or do you foresee some kind of impactful, game-changing impact coming with technology?
There is no doubt that technology offers you a huge opportunity. Surely, I mean, access is improved, but yet there are many challenges. I mean, like everyone spoke about, no electricity. So you got to sort of structure your curriculum in such a way that whenever there is electricity, the computer gets active and you use that. So as of today, you can only use it to supplement what you're doing. Right? It cannot be the mainstay. We have to find solutions. We've got to find ways it means to use technology. Now your smartphone, what you're talking about, digital, is really a huge opportunity. I mean, what you can do with that, if it is used well, and if we can make it work, if we have the bandwidth, will be amazing.
I would like your thoughts on the financial inclusion part as well.
One of the most important social skill children require is to be money smart. And the foundations of which have to be laid in a very easy to understand in a very early manner. And that gives them confidence to tomorrow start looking at. In Ladakh, we are not looking at making people managers or doing MBAs or making them. They will have limited opportunities to fruitfully engage in their livelihoods. And trade, I hope, is going to be one of the things where there will be opportunities as we see. So financial smartness, I don't want to start talking about opening accounts and then making sure things happen there. But as soon as possible, young children start understanding the value for money and start to learn how to create more value from money, I think their education is on the right path.
I just want to end the panel. There is a Tibetan proverb that says that a child without education is like a bird without wings. So I'm hoping that thanks to everyone's efforts, very soon all Indian children will learn to fly. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen on the panel. Thank you, audience, for being here with us.